Hello there guys, and welcome back to the channel. In today's video we are going to be talking about Werewolf by Night. And unironically, Werewolf by Night is one of my kind of most useful rank ups that I have done recently, for sure. I wasn't super sold on ranking him up initially, but now that I have him at rank 4, I have been absolutely loving him, and I have been using him in Alliance War. I have been using him a ton in Battlegrounds, and I wanted to share with you guys exactly what matchups and what situations and why he has been so good. So the base idea of how he works is effectively he's a champion that relies on Rupture, and your mediums and your fourth light attack applies Rupture. That can be done through block as an attacker as well. He does have his howl mechanic, where you basically have to dash back or knock the opponent down and stand there for a bit until you howl, and that will give you a power gain and trigger some other abilities. And effectively, when you get to your 10 lycanthropy charges, you go in your damage mode, which is Curse of Lycanthropy. You get a charge whenever you feel a bar of power and whenever you howl, basically. If opponent has Rupture active, which is going to be in the most fights, you get 2 charges for each of those actions. And that's kind of his core for the most part. You won't be howling, you won't be getting to your Curse of Lycanthropy, and then you won't be finishing up your opponent. But since his Raptures are inflicting through block, and of the interesting way how you can use him, that opens a ton of matchups for him. So first, I'm just going to show like a very basic fight against Winter Soldier, and then we're going to go through some more interesting options. What is the key aspect of Werewolf by Night is that in general, he's not like the fastest champion. If there is a full moon, which is, once a month for a week, then he's faster than normal, because you don't need to throw that level 1 out, and you kind of like save yourself a bit of time in that. But overall, he's the type of champion that will do most of the fights in between like 50 to 70 second range, depending on, how aggressive can you be, how much opponent health has, how much opponent has in the health bar there. But the base idea, basically, you saw his rotation here. You want to basically howl as quickly as is available for you, drop your level 1 if the full moon is not active, and then build up to your level 2, and then you kind of go in for a kill in most instances. So this rank 4 Werewolf here has already done like 500k health, and this would generally be kind of fight over in vast majority of the matchups in the Battlegrounds, and it takes about a minute to kind of like go through it. Again, if Mystic Dispersion is present, if you can nullify something, or even if opponents have the buffs, then he gets significantly more dangerous, because one of the key aspects is that if opponent has 2 unique buffs active, Curse of Lycanthropy gets paused when you are far away from the opponent, and the curse pauses automatically whenever you are striking the opponent, during your special attacks, and during your relic attacks. Only time is basically not paused is when you're close to the opponent and you're striking their block, if they have the 2 buffs active, or during opponent's special attacks. Still though, if opponent has 2 unique buffs during their own special attacks, your curse doesn't expire. So here's the fight with like class advantage, for instance, and we have built up our Curse of Lycanthropy. After that level 2, we're basically always going unblockable, unstoppable. I should have really just went in there to finish the fight, but I chose to howl, and the fight's basically done. And here we can see that this fight was effectively something along the lines of 50-some seconds, 47 seconds. So 550k in 47 seconds, not like a speed demon record, but it's not bad. Now, here, the important thing, basically in all of the matchups that I'm going to show you guys from this point forward, you can see that the block damage is significantly exaggerated, because I am using a 5-star against 7-star rank 4s and rank 3s. So any block damage or chip damage that you see Werewolf take in these fights, it is significantly bigger than normally would be. And that is to do with the idea that in Battlegrounds and in most places, basically opponents get 100% increase in attack and 300% increase in health. And here I'm basically playing as if opponents have 300% increase in attack. All that said though, we can see that against Cosmic Champions, my Curse of Lycanthropy basically doesn't expire, or barely expires. And he's quite good against the Serpent, because Serpent's special attacks are quite long, and I can effectively howl during them or after them quite easily. And his own animations and specials are also quite long, which makes it quite easy for me to line things up, effectively ignore Serpent's immortality. So another cool thing, another defender, I'm going to be bringing him up against most of the kind of relevant defenders. He's very, very good against the Yelenas too. And that is to do with the fact that his Rapture and his bursts effectively scale with his base attack only. And so they're not really affected by inequity or anything that reduces my attack in the fight. So that also kind of means that Yelena's abilities don't really do much to slow Werewolf down. And with that knowledge in mind, knowing that I can also I can howl during her level 1, we can see that that Yelena is about to kind of like go down fairly quickly, because here in the end as well, I can go into Relic and then past Relic. We can see the Yelena's power bar. I should have baited here, I suppose, but even without the baiting here, we're gonna have enough damage to finish out the fight. Because I already had a bar power. And that's Yelena. And in general, I do use Werewolf by Night against the Yelena in a pinch. Fair amount of time. Werewolf also is a very solid option against Captain Britain. You'll still typically end up losing a bit of health. He's, again, not the fastest. He's not Jack against Captain Britain, but this is a rank 4 high sig Captain Britain. And again, any and all chip damage here, including Neuroshock damage, is heavily exaggerated. But the reason why Werewolf by Night is so good against Captain Britain compared to most other champions is because I don't really have to strike her much. Thus, I'm not getting up the exhaustions. Thus, I'm not really getting up many Neuroshocks on me. And because I'm hitting her block as much as I am, she's not really getting to activate many of her special attacks, and she doesn't enter her psionic mode. And even if she does, again, I can still hit her block during it, and that doesn't apply Neuroshocks on me. So when you're using like a 7-star, let's say rank 4 Wolf against rank 4 Captain Britain, you barely take any damage, and you still do finish out the fight in a very solid pace. So here in the end, maybe I rushed it a bit, but I will end up taking a bit more chip damage at the end. That's because I'm just trying to finish out the fight at a reasonable time. And this fight took like 1 minute and 13 seconds. So that's 73 seconds. It's not quick, it's not easy, but again, in Battlegrounds, you could finish this fight potentially slightly faster and with less health loss. So he's quite decent for it. Obviously, this is another matchup that I do a ton in Battlegrounds. Use Wolf for Onslaught, and this also kind of works out very well because all the chip damage I can heal back from the willpower. And Onslaught special attacks, again, are quite long, so I can quite easily use it to just get my howls in. That's one. And number two, also after I do get my howls in, because his special attacks are so long, my howling cooldown is effectively being eaten up by those special attack animations. And that is quite useful. Here, he doesn't want to play in me at all. So I decided to see if I can nuke this 7-star rank 4 Onslaught. Again, with the Wolf, and this is basically how the fights typically look in the end. Again, you can finish this fight with 100% health most of the time, but I just kind of decided to go for a nuke. And then we have Photon. Believe it or not, Werewolf is actually perfectly capable Photon counter. Again, he's obviously not going to be as good or fast as like Crossbones or Mantis or something like that. But he's perfectly serviceable option. Because, again, primarily I'm going to be hitting her block with the double mediums, and that doesn't really give her charges, so my Raptures are working there in the background. And then that's just about it. So she's at 3 charges only, like now 4, fine, 6, but I get my first level 2 off, and that takes her below 50 barge power. And also, because of the nature how, you can use Werewolf by Night, at this point, it is quite easy to wait out her Dark Light form, for instance. But here I will decide against it. I will not let her trigger it. If I wanted to be like super safe, I could wait it out as well, but I decided that I have enough reach to nuke her without my Curse of Lycanthropy for the second one, for the second level 2. So here I'm just going to go in and drop my level 2, and she's going to be dead. And that's, again, rank 4 Photon, and basically 100% health finish, like a bit over a minute. Again, typically you can do this around 60 seconds as well. I just chose to be extra careful here. And yeah, it works reasonably well. And guess what? He's also kind of good against Jean. He's one of those champions that I like using against Jean Grey. And again, that has a lot to do with his playstyle being kind of like more calm and collected. Here I do make a mistake that I'm not going to get punished for, but let's pretend that I didn't. But the idea is that when I have reverse controls on, you know, I can just howl and kind of stall for time if I want to. And then for most part, the exhaustion doesn't really do anything to me. I can, again, be fairly passive and cautious if I want to, and just get my howls in. There, she didn't want to let me howl for a second, which happens sometimes at AI. And here, her shield is coming back, but that's fine. We do have reverse controls on us, so I kind of take that in consideration. But again, because I'm not playing like super fast and hectically aggressively, the reverse controls is much easier to manage, and also because of his like fairly long special attack animation on level 1, for instance. So here we can see that, you know, her final bits of health points are leaking out. I dropped at level 1 and she's done. Not a perfect fight, necessarily not a perfect matchup, but the fact that he does it quite easily. And again, a bit over a minute to get it done. Somebody like Red Skull, again, because of his playstyle, many people would think that he's not necessarily great for Red Skull, but at the same time, he just works against him because it doesn't matter if I crit or I don't. And his dot is, you know, doing most of the damage, and Red Skull's resistances are energy resistances, and without energy resistance and, you know, crits mattering, he's not all that tanky. And so we're going to see in a second how exactly it works out. Again, chip damage here is definitely exaggerated. But I just punch his level 1. Then I howl. That's fine. I could have actually went for an intercept because whilst I'm unblockable, I don't need to worry about auto block. And now again, I'm unblockable and unstoppable, so I can just easily go after my level 2, and I'm going to finish off the fight. Very quick. This one's like 47 seconds too. So yeah, he's, for instance, good against Red Skull. He's good against just about everywhere in tech class, to be honest. Which I think I'm going to show you guys soon enough. Let's see who I'm going up. Solvarch, yeah. He's also happens to be a very viable Solvarch counter. Solvarch is a very popular defender these days in Battlegrounds. And he works great against Solvarch, again, because his armor doesn't really matter, because vast majority of my damage comes from the ruptures and the bursts. And Solvarch has the mechanics that punish energy damage, energy dots. But ruptures are physical, so with that in mind, again, I'm not playing perfectly here. I'm taking more chip damage than I should, realistically, but we're gonna see that Wolfie just goes for that level 2, and that level 2 is gonna... Here, I would have preferred him not to throw that level 1, but that's fine. I'm just gonna go in to finish it anyways. Not a perfect fight necessarily, but in a Battlegrounds matchup, this would be like 98-97% fight. Let's move on to the next one then, shall we? Sentinel, again, because my crits don't really matter, and he doesn't have any like real resistances to my ruptures, Sentinel becomes a very easy sitting target, very, very basic fight. My basic rotation, again, if it would be full moon, I wouldn't have any need to drop that level 1, but since it's not full moon, I needed to drop that. So I howl here, and basically I'm going to build up to my level 2, and that's going to be pretty much enough. I believe, yeah, we're just going to finish it with that. So I basically want to howl. I want to make sure the opponent has some ruptures on at any time, so I can get the double charges for the lycanthropy curse. And here we can see that level 2 burst completely bypasses everything. I'm unstoppable and blockable after my level 2, and he goes down so very quick, like 42 seconds. In a pinch, you can use him against Bullseye. And again here, the block and chip damage is heavily exaggerated. But he does work as a solid Bullseye counter because of 2 reasons. Number 1, I can easily play him in a way that doesn't give my opponent too much power. And that's the big problem with Bullseye, you know, because his await starts when he gains about power. and when he shoots his specials, you basically take damage. So if he doesn't get many specials, then, you know, he's much easier. And the second thing is there is a trick that I just showed, because Bullseye can't evade his double medium. He will attempt to, but as you can see here, you still tag him with your second hit. So you can use it to start that evade cooldown, and then once you have done that, you can just, again, use, well, special attack or just wait it out and then attack him. And yeah, here I do make some mistakes, but again, the chip damage here is heavily exaggerated. In Battlegrounds matchup, this would be like 90% health remaining, and he would already be dead. So there you go. You can use him against Bullseye reasonably well. It's like not ideal, not perfect, but in a pinch. And that is the entire reason why I like Werewolf by Night so much. And obviously some more basic defenders like Enchantress. There's, you know, nothing stopping you against doing Enchantress with him as well. So here, as long as, you know, she plays into the AI as any other champion. So here I do want to get in those Ruptures. I'm going to activate my level 1. But yeah, fairly straightforward. And then I'm going to deal with one more level 1, and then I'm just going to go into nuke her once I get my Curse of Lycanthropy active. So I need to punish that heavy attack. And again, that chip damage is just grossly exaggerated, but it makes me, it feels bad. The chip damage still makes me feel bad when I'm recording these. But anyways, so here we can see that Enchantress is basically just melting. I was unstoppable there and unblockable. She didn't quite run in at me fast enough, but just finished the job there. So besides the Enchantress, you know, you can do Maestro and stuff like that. So I did bring him in for the fun, as I said, star rank 4 against Star-Lord. But before I finish off this video, and hopefully I have convinced you that he is a solid option, I also do have the champion matchup spreadsheet here. And this is like a little sheet that I'm working on, and I basically added Wolf in the sheet already, kind of going over his matchups against the most relevant defenders and such. And then we're going to see how he kind of compares against everybody else in a sec. And he does very well. That's kind of like spoiler alert. Again, he's not going to be the fastest nuke, obviously. He's just about never the fastest champion. But just the sheer volume of matchups that he works for is quite impressive. Here you can see if we combine the champs that he can nuke plus yes plus somewhat, then we can see that he hits 30 out of 36 possible points. So 36 is the max. So far the leading champ is Shatter with 32. But 30 is Spider-Woman territory. 30 is... Oh, holy shit, that guy has a lot. 30 is Thanos territory, basically. Nuke plus yes plus somewhat. And even when we're taking just plus yes plus nukes, 20 up in here. Very high. It's very good. So I guess that is what I wanted to tell you guys. He ranks very well in terms of his versatility, and I like that type of champions a lot, because you can again play him in several different ways. You can play him like basically I'm playing here, where you're just being as aggressive as you possibly can be and get those howls in as and when, and then you just, well, the level 3 was unnecessary, accidental you might even say. But yeah, he kind of reminds me of Hype in a sense, where he's rarely going to be the best option for any fight, but he's often going to be, you know, the 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th best option. And again, this does come in handy a lot of time in Alliance War, where, you know, in node combinations and whatnot, it's preventing you to use some of the best counters. He often finds just a way to work. Like, I often use him, for instance, against hazard chip lanes. Because you can just primarily hit the opponent's block and then, you know, nuke with a special. Or again in Battlegrounds, you can just end up using him against a plethora of random champions. So there you go. That was a little baby Werewolf by Night showcase. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'm going to catch you guys soon. Bye-bye. Hello there, guys, and welcome back to the channel. So we have all the information